How you going, RPG fans? I'm just going to do a quick video. I'm going to talk about Suikoden Tactics, otherwise known as Rapsodia in Japan. Now this acts as both a prequel and a sequel to the events of Suikoden 4. And how that works is, in the prologue of this game, you basically, in the whole game, you take control of a character named Kuril, and he's with his dad investigating the rune cannons. And you start him off as a little kid in the prologue, and he's with his dad, and goes to island to island to investigate the rune cannons, because they have this shape-shifting, altering ability, and he wants to find out why this is happening. What's really cool is you'll see familiar faces, and you'll get to see in the prologue where a lot of things begin, which is really cool, like the origin of where who had the rune of punishment before whom. It's really cool. I really like how they did it, and if you enjoyed Suikoden 4 story, you're going to love this. I actually like Suikoden 4 story a bit more after playing this game, because it does elaborate on a bit more things I wasn't too sure of that I wanted to know more about when playing Suikoden 4 very nicely. After the events of the prologue, Kuril, you take place of Kuril when he gets a bit older, and the main story basically takes place 3 years after Suikoden 4, so it's a bit of a follow-up, a sequel. But unlike the other Suikoden games, this isn't a traditional RPG. As you can already guess from the tactics, this is a tactical strategy RPG. Now, as much as I love Suikoden, I love my strategy RPGs. Like, I love Shining Force, I love Fire Emblem, I really like Final Fantasy Tactics. Gameplay wise, not so much the story, except for War of the White Lions. That was pretty cool. I love Vagrant's story, I love Mysteria, Realms of War. I can go on, but I love my strategy RPGs. And this is pretty good. It doesn't really do much to change the formula. It's your pretty standard strategy RPG fare. You've got a gridded map. You move your characters one square from the other. You have your standard attacks. You've got your ranged attacks. You've got your unite attacks, where if you've got more than one character, they can form a unite attack, as it always has been in the Suikoden series. You also got runes again, where you can cast rune magic. But what's really cool about Suikoden Tactics is when you cast a spell, it leaves an elemental effect on that square, or the area where you cast that spell. And what's really cool is if you cast a wind spell, that area will be basically affected by wind, and it'll come up in green. And what's cool is if you want to cast another wind spell, you move your character onto the green square where the wind's affected, and it'll strengthen the wind element and cause more damage when he does it again. Adds a little bit more strategy, and it does get hectic near the end, where you basically colour the entire battlefield with about 10 different billion kinds of colours. No, only just about. Mainly 4 different types of colours for all the elements, but it is really cool. I really liked it. There is no duels, there is no war battles, because it's just the strategy RPG system. There is no 108 Stars of Destiny, there's only 60 characters. Mainly because the main character, Kuril, he doesn't get a true rune, he's just an average guy who's just investigating. It's a change from the destined hero who wields the true rune. Even though I more prefer that, I didn't mind playing as Kuril. What really struck me as odd about Kuril is the voice acting in this game is really good, but they don't change Kuril's voice actor. When he's got the same voice as he was when he was a kid, up until when he's an adult, and it is kind of off-putting at first, but you get used to it. Basically how you move around is, the map is quite simple compared to Suikoden 4. It's just a simple point and click map like Final Fantasy Tactics. You basically move to that area you want, and it's instantaneous. It's not like long and winded like sailing in Suikoden 4. It's it's much easier, which I don't mind for strategy RPGs. It's the only way to go. But other than basically going to the desired area on the world map, you can also elect to do side quests at Middleport, where you sign on to do side quests. And basically one of two ways is you can either go, attend the battle yourself in some missions, and other missions you actually have to send someone out of your party to complete it. So it's kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics events, how they do that. And I can see when I played it, it's just ripped straight out of it, but I reckon it works well within Suikoden Tactics' style. So a lot of people have bagged this game, but I really like it. It adds more to the Suikoden 4 experience. One of the cool things I really like about Suikoden Tactics, it explains a bit more about the Kuluk Empire, who are the enemies of Suikoden 4, but you never knew about where they came from. They just basically invaded the islands, but they never showed you where they came from. So you never got that sense of how powerful they are. It's just like, they're just the enemies, they're there. Which I didn't mind, but I like it when RPGs elaborate more. It shows you the organization where that villain is from, what they stand for, if there's any conflicts within that organization. I really like it when RPGs go to that next level to make it a bit more real and a bit more interesting. Well, the cool thing about Suikoden Tactics is they do elaborate on the Kuluk Empire, because it actually the big part of the game takes place in the Kuluk Empire. So you go out of the island nations into the Kuluk Empire, which is really, really, really cool. And that's when I started to really appreciating this game. So I don't go too much into it because it is a really, really good game. But to really appreciate it, I can't recommend anyone to play this by itself. In order to appreciate this in full, play this first and play Suikoden Tactics afterwards. The main reason I say that is, if you beat Suikoden 4, it will ask you to save a file. And if you keep this file on the memory card, when you start a new game in Suikoden Tactics, it will ask you if you want to load a file from Suikoden 4. I'm not going to tell you what it unlocks, but it unlocks something very, very, very cool. And something you appreciate after watching the ending of Suikoden 4. So, alrighty, that's all I'm going to talk about on Suikoden Tactics. Tomorrow, which is going to be very, very, very awesome, and a lot of people probably screaming that their favourite Suikoden game's about to be reviewed. A lot of people love this game. Whenever I talk to Suikoden fans, they, without hesitation, talk about this game as their #1 favourite. And for me, it's my second favourite, but it's my favourite of the PS2 games, and it is a wonderful, amazing experience that everyone has to play in this lifetime. And that, of course, is Gensu Suikoden 5. I hope you can join me. See you guys.